Hey everyone, welcome to the Literary Lounge. I'm Paige.
And I'm Emily.
And today is a very special episode. We actually have our husbands joining us today.
I'm Emily's husband, Nick.
And I'm Paige's husband, David.
Yay!
We made
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the love hypothesis. And this book has been very viral on TikTok and Instagram. I see it on Book Talk all the time. And our drink today is the amino acid old fashioned. You can go find this recipe over on our Instagram.
Oh, this is a real treat today for YouTube.
Oh, it's
yeah.
delicious.
It is fantastic.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We thought it would be a great idea to have our husbands read a romance novel because they're not readers at all.
Nope.
No.
Yeah,
So-
we said this last week, but we're like, not only did we force them to read, like we picked a book that they don't really want to read.
No
Okay.
interest in. Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever would have picked it up on my own ever.
But you don't often hear like the guy's perspective
Yeah.
Well, you're going to hear it
on
today.
a romance.
Oh, yeah.
novel.
Today's a special treat.
Yeah. So our question of the week today is, what did you do on your first date? So Nick and Emily, do you want to go first?
Mm-hmm. You want to tell them or should I?
I guess I can go. We went to a brewery, Shirley Brewing in Minneapolis.
Mhm.
Emily was hungover.
No, I
and-
wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
Wait, did I tell you that?
Yeah, you told me that.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was. I don't
But
remember.
we sat.
I believe it.
I mean,
Just kidding.
I always have a hangover if I drink.
yeah, we had a couple beers, and I don't know. We were there for a while, and got kind of awkward when we left. Didn't kiss you. Kissed
I
you on the
know.
second date.
I
but-
remember hearing
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it was actually really awkward when we
The
went
whole
to the
thing was kind of
with the
awkward.
cars. Yeah. But
Just because if you can imagine like two very introverted people like trying to make a connection, that's like exactly how it was.
it worked out though.
Yeah, I mean, here we are today.
Wait, what happened with the cars?
It was,
Like the parking situation?
well, I think we were parked right by each other.
Oh,
Right.
Well, we like kind of awkwardly hugged and was like, so like that was fun.
Kind of wanted to go in for the kiss, but I wasn't really sure. So I hugged and like, okay, see ya. So then we
Okay.
turned and went to our vehicles and that was it.
Emily, were you
Nice.
kind of like, why didn't he kiss me? Or were you like, fine with
No,
it?
I mean, I think just because we were both so nervous, like on the first date, that I was like fine with it. So, I mean, it just.
Well, you're hungover too, so you're probably like, get me the hell out of here.
Jeez. Okay, well, also one thing that everybody loves this part of the story too that you left out. When I asked you like what your interests were, and you said condiments,
yes.
Who doesn't love condiments?
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, like
What?
ketchup, and you're like, well, like ranch and mayo. And
Well,
I was
that's
like,
what-
okay, but
That's what happens when you're put on when I'm put on the spot. I just panicked and the first thing that came to my mind was mayo. So, or ranch and
I
mayo.
literally can't remember who said this. I feel like it was your mom, but I'm not 100% sure. But I remember we told this story to somebody that like knows you really well, and they're like, "Oh, no wonder he like couldn't keep a girl."
All right, David, do you want to
Yeah.
tell our first date
so,
story?
So we met in Dinkytown. Now what used to be the legendary McDonald's Dinkytown. I don't know what's there anymore, but we met in the parking lot there and tried to find some parking spot. That's why I asked about the parking, because like that was a whole fiasco. Started at McDonald's and we went down the street, parked, found some parking there. Then we went for
That was so
grabs.
awkward though, because you were like waving at each other through the window, like, where do we go? Yeah. It was
Yep.
so weird.
Then we found our spot, walked to get some coffee. Then we went for a walk around Stone Arch Bridge.
hmm
Just,
Yeah.
Conversations and coffee.
Yeah,
Did
we
you
just kinda-
kiss?
No.
Nope. So Nick did better than me. I did third date.
Third day.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you're
Third
playing
date.
hard to get.
But I
Yeah.
tried running. Okay,
She
like
tried to run away.
I tried to run away because I like had a feeling he was gonna do it, and I was just like nervous.
She
So
turned away. and, like we're going
And
to
he,
our
like,
cars.
grabbed me
I was
and
like,
turned me
hey. I was like, no,
around.
it's not gonna happen.
yeah,
Yep.
Oh
it's pretty
man.
funny.
Cute.
Yeah, that's pretty much our
That was
whole first
The
date.
rest
That
is
was the first
history.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get into this book?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's dive in. All right, Emily, do you want to start with the major events or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can get us started. I think so. Let's start obviously at the very beginning where we meet our main character, Olive, and she's booking it into the restroom. It's in the lab that she is going to be working at through the majority of this book, but she is in there because she can't see a thing. She put expired contacts in her eyes and she's like miserable in the bathroom. Some guy comes in, she still can't see, so she never like knows who exactly this man is, but he's kind of like making fun of her and was like, why would you put expired contacts in your eyes?
Yeah, I wear contacts, and when I heard this, like when we listened to the first chapter
Yeah.
and they were talking about this, I was just blown away because I checked my contacts. They expire after 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think it comes down to like those things have been bad, or they're 7-year-old contacts.
Whoa.
Because she said they'd been expired.
Yeah, she said 7 years. That was right.
Yeah. So that's like, first of all, how have you not been back to the optometrist in 7 years? And why do you still have those contacts?
I think the thing that was the most
Wow.
annoying to me was just like her trying to defend it.
Yeah.
Like that was the stupidest
Yeah, like,
conversation I've
justifying.
ever read.
Right
Yeah.
off the bat, I'm just like, this lady is.
That's so true.
There's something wrong with her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I mean, I don't wear contacts, so I don't really know like how far you can like push those kinds of things, but like,
Not that far.
I mean, at the time she was 23, so she'd gotten these when she was 16.
I guess.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like there would have been a point in time where you're like, I'm gonna go get more contacts.
Like,
Seems
I don't wear contacts. I know Paige wears contacts, so I know there's a little bit of water in there. I feel like there wouldn't be any water at that point.
Saline, it's saline solution, so
Saline,
I'm
yeah.
sure it lasts a while. But I mean, Paige, your prescription changes after like a year
Yeah.
or two,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
they might not even be the right prescription for her. So,
From 7
Yeah,
years ago.
exactly.
and this is a PhD student we're talking
The
about.
fact that
So right off the bat.
Yeah,
the fact that her eyes were like burning though, like why do you keep putting them in?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, like,
How
oh, that
stupid
didn't
are you?
that
Yeah.
didn't go well last
No.
time. I don't think I'm gonna do that again.
yeah. Like do you want to lose your eyes? Like you can't get that back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get to talking more about just like who, like kind of why they're in there. And she thinks he's a student. He never bothers to like correct her. But she's talking about like how she's applying for this PhD program. And he asks her like why she's applying. And she says that she has an answer. Like she has a question that she needs an answer to. And he tells her that that's like the right reason to go into academia. So that kind of sticks with, like, we know this, but it sticks with her, like, as she goes through the PhD program, because then it fast forwards, like, 3 years or whatever, and she's always kind of, like, remembered this guy that, like, she had, like, this nice conversation with about the whole program and just, like, reasons why it's worth going into.
Well, yeah, it's what's going to set the light bulb off in her head later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 years goes by and she's working towards her PhD and she's trying to like trick her best friend. It's Anna, right?
On.
On.
Okay. She tries to trick her best friend On into thinking she's moved on from this guy named Jeremy. And she found out that like Jeremy and On were kind of flirting when they were dating. And anyway, they broke up. And Olive wants On and Jeremy to start dating. So she's just trying to trick her into like thinking that she's like on a date and is happy. So she grabs the first man that she sees and kisses him in like the parking lot. So her friend thinks that she's like moved on.
Yeah, because, like, On comes out, and then, like you said, Olive's like, she claims that she was like, will you kiss me? And then just, like, grabs him. But I honestly don't remember that part. So it's just totally, like, impulsive. And, like, she literally kisses a professor. Like, and immediately when this happened, me and Nick, like, looked at each other like, oh, Title IX. Like, like literally, this is
Yeah.
not good.
You're sued.
You were fired or kicked out of the program. But
He like threatens her with a Title IX.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, he
yeah.
Yeah.
And which he does actually use those words, like tells her he's
Mhm.
like gonna march into HR's office.
Yep.
But we find out that he's not actually like serious about that. But the thing about Olive and Jeremy was that they weren't even really dating, right? Like they were just like kind of had like a fling, maybe went on a couple dates or maybe even just went to a party together. Like, I don't
think it was like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it was not
It
very
never
long.
sounded that serious.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know, just trying to like put myself like in these girls' shoes. Like, it's not a big deal at all.
No.
Like, if your friend dates this guy, like,
I
Yeah,
agree.
and I mean, it sounds like Olive really tried to tell on that too multiple times. Like, hey, it's not a big deal. Go date Jeremy. But this was, I mean, she, like, to the point where she had to make up this whole story.
Yeah.
I'm going on a date, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Go after Jeremy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit much, I think.
Oh, it's way over the top. A bit much, yeah. It's like
It's almost like a romance novel here.
All right, so let's discuss Olive's character. Like, what do you think of her? Like, what kind of person is she? Is she like endearing? Do you think she's messy? Do you think she's impulsive?
impulsive's probably the right way to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see messy as well, possibly. Just I mean, I feel like she focuses so much onto science, and like science is. It seems like that's her life. That's her whole deal. So I mean, I could totally see just like everything else falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's like book smart, but
Yeah.
street smart, like not sure about that.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I think the author's like goal here was endearing. Like I
Yeah.
think she maybe wants
That's so far off, though.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, but like that's the vibe I get is like,
Yeah.
oh, let's create this like quirky female character that drinks like unicorn frappuccinos and like wears expired contacts and all this stuff. But like, and I think it's meant to be kind of like ditzy, like fun girl. But really, to me, I'm kind of like, oh, she needs to like kind of get her shit together a little bit.
Yeah, she's not
Yeah.
ditzy though. She's just, I don't know what the right word is.
I think
for her.
impulsive.
You think?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Impulsive is a good one.
Messy and impulsive.
Yeah.
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 Totally. Well, that happened. So she's lucky that she didn't get like reported or anything. I mean, like
Mhm.
that could have been so much worse, but she gets off basically scot-free from this situation. And like moving forward, we find out she's working on like a research project for early detection for pancreatic cancer. She reaches out to Harvard University on her project because Stanford like doesn't have the resources or the funds for her to continue working on it. And so she's been kind of like exchanging emails with this guy, Tom, at Harvard. So that's what's going on for her as far as school. But then aside from that, like Olive and Adam decide that they actually want to keep up their fake dating ruse because there's kind of like all this whispering and rumors going around at their school. And so then eventually they have to address it, right? Like they're like, everybody's talking about this. Like, because On told Jeremy told everybody. Like, so now like they have to talk about it. And they're like, well, should we keep it up? Like, should we actually like convince people we're dating? And again, Olive's reasoning is, well, I want On to keep dating Jeremy or keep seeing him. And then for Adam, he's considered like a flight risk right now at Stanford because the school thinks that he's going to leave and like do his research or collaborate like somewhere else and like leave their program. And he wants to convince them that he's actually like planning to stick around. And so like that's what he tells Olive is like his reason. But we learn like later on that really it's because he likes her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what they decide to do. So like what do you guys think about that? Like do you think that those are good reasons to fake date?
No.
I think
It's stupid.
Olive's reason is completely ridiculous in my mind. I mean, you're gonna fake date some guy to convince your best friend that she can date a guy that you dated for 2 weeks. It's like that's just it just seems way over the top.
I also think it's stupid that like dating someone to like save your career, like that's gonna be the thing that saves your career.
Yeah.
And like gets your funds back. Like I just think that's so stupid. Like
Yeah.
I get like that he wants to show that he plans on like staying there, but I feel like there's so many other ways that he could just honestly just have a conversation with them and just be like, yeah, I'm not leaving. Like I want to stay here.
Paige, this whole book would be solved if everybody just sat down and had a 5-minute conversation.
True.
If everyone told the truth.
True.
That's it.
It's
Yeah.
just a bunch of miscommunications.
A lot
Yeah,
of
very
miscommunication.
true.
But I mean, with him saying yes, I right away, like, it doesn't really add up. So for me, I was like, okay, well, obviously this guy likes her and wants to spend time with her, which we find out later that, yeah, it's been the whole time.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty good reason to go through like the fake dating, right?
Yeah.
Like what's a better way to like make somebody spend time with you? Like let's
Exactly.
pretend we're dating
Yeah.
and do all the things that couples do. So yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of like their reasons that they initially tell each other. And I'm just cringing too about the whole workplace dating thing because like he's her superior and like that could be career ruining
Yeah.
for both
Yeah.
of them. Like,
But he's
just-
not technically her superior, right?
Well, they don't work directly with each other, but still like.
So that's the saving grace, though.
That's the
yeah,
saving
it'd be
grace.
worse if like he was like grading her
Yeah.
research.
I still feel like it
Yes.
doesn't look good on him though because he's
Yeah.
still dating like a
yeah,
what is
a-
she, a student?
s-
I
A
don't
She's a
know.
PhD
yeah.
candidate? Is that what
Yeah.
they call it?
she's
Yeah.
a student. Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I don't know. I was kind of like, and I don't really know. I guess like how the science world is, but like I was just thinking about like the workplace, like corporate work. I was like, ooh, like I don't know about that, but
They did kind of
a
talk
little
about how
weird.
they like spoke with like advisors or something like that. They're like, yeah, we ran it by the advisors. They're okay with it.
yeah, as
Yeah.
long as
They-
like
they
they're
got the
not
okay.
working together or whatever.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on the fake dating trope as a whole? Like used in other instances, books, movies, whatever. Like
Well, I think in this instance, it's kind of dumb. I mean, I feel like if you're going to do it, you have to have a love triangle or something. Like Olive has to be going after some other guy, and then she fake dates Adam to make that other guy jealous. And then she ends up falling in love with Adam.
well, that's literally what you said in the car when we were listening to it. She was like, you were like, oh, I bet like she's gonna fall for Tom, and then there's gonna be a love triangle. And I was like, I hope there is.
Yeah.
But I
They didn't
think you've
even
got-
do that.
I think you've
That
got high
totally makes a lot more
expectations.
sense,
Right?
Because that, yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard about a lot more of that in college and stuff.
Yeah.
Different relationships. Yeah, I could definitely see more of a love triangle than that.
It's like, that gives it more drama, I feel like.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
way, it's just,
Yeah.
we're fake dating. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, then there's just like one path, right, that you see. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, they're going to end up together at the end. Where if you were like to add another person in the mix, that might make it more fun. Like,
Right? Yeah.
who's she gonna pick, kind of thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, with Adam having more interest in her than she even in him, I mean, it's all beneficial for Adam.
Yeah.
And then he just uses the excuse of, my funds.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think it's kind of like gross though that like he's doing it this way in a sense? Like the fact that like he's obviously into her, we find that out later on. And like he was into her for years beforehand.
If he wasn't such a
That's-
gentleman about it,
Yeah.
I would say yes. But I feel like
True,
he's
he
very
is.
like respectful.
He is, that's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is
Yep.
true.
Yep.
But like in a sense, like you could kind of argue it as like him in a sense like grooming her in a way. You know what I mean? Oh.
But
Yeah.
she went along with it. So
It's
she's the
true.
one
It was
that
actually
initiated
her idea, though.
Yeah,
It was
she
all her
started
idea.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I get what you're
Yep.
saying, and
For sure.
I could see it. Yeah, I mean, I could see it that way too.
Yeah. Yeah, so like David said, the school approves of their relationship. And as long as Adam doesn't like have anything to do with like Olivia's grades or like projects, so he like can't help her with any of that. So she hears back from Tom, who is the professor at Harvard, and she finds out that Adam and Tom actually know each other because they like ran into each other at a coffee shop when she was with Adam. And Tom like had no idea who she was at first, which I thought was super like cringy and awkward.
Yeah, like you've been emailing.
Yeah. And so Tom is like staying at Adam's house, and in the end he ends up accepting Olive's project, which I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like I just
Yeah, it's kind of, well, we obviously learn like later on that he's got like ulterior motives on the whole thing.
I know, but I felt like at that moment when he like accepted her project, like I was like he has something else planned.
Yeah, because he
was so
then,
weird.
when he did accept it, like he knew that her and Adam
Yeah.
were dating.
Yeah.
And so like,
Yep.
and because he was such a dick to her, like at the coffee shop when the three of them were like kind of chatting and like he was like getting to know her,
Mm-hmm.
like I was like, oh, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. He just gave me bad vibes, like right when he like accepted that.
Yeah. Which is funny because in the book, like Olive keeps talking about how Adam's such a dick.
Yeah.
Like she calls him an ass like
God.
every other page. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
where's the proof on this? Like,
Yeah, why is he an ass? Like, he's been
Why
nothing
is
but
he an
nice
ass?
to you this entire. Like, he's agreed to. I mean, granted, he's in love with her. We find out, but he's agreed to fake date you, and you keep calling him an asshole like every other
Yeah.
page. It's like,
Surprised he didn't run away from that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, so they continue fake dating. And one thing that I thought that was super annoying was how On always is like pushing Olive into like these cringy like
Oh,
scenarios with
yeah.
Adam. It's like obviously Olive, I mean, On doesn't know that they're like fake dating, but Olive seems to not like PDA. Like, why are you like forcing her to like do all this weird stuff in front of all of like the colleagues and like
yeah,
the
let's
superiors? Like,
let's
so
get into
weird.
each of these because I
Yeah.
think they're worth talking about. Like the first one being like they're in that cramped
Oh,
auditorium because
God.
I think
Yep.
it was Tom was about to give a speech, and so like all the students and faculty are there, and there's no room to stand or sit, and so On's like, Olive, sit on your boyfriend's
That was
lap.
so bad.
I wanted to die for her. I was
Same.
like,
Yeah.
and this is like a professional setting.
Yeah.
yes, this is a
setting.
professional
That-
setting. They're
Go sit on the
adults. Like,
professor's lap.
how how old are you?
Holy
Like,
cow.
are we 12? Like, who does that? Like, that's what something like you'd maybe like do jokingly to your friend like in middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd get yelled at by the teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, like, totally.
Not the teacher participating.
Yeah, and then the second one is On tells her to kiss Adam after he helped push someone's car that like died.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, again, like what? Like I was just putting myself in this position. Like if Nick helped somebody push a vehicle, I would not like kiss you after. Like it's just why?
Oh, my
Oh, here's-
hero.
Here's your kiss.
Not even her car.
Yeah, and then the third one, which isn't as cringy in my opinion, but is like when she
Thought that
goes.
was so cringy.
It's weird,
Still
though.
weird, but like putting sunscreen on him, like okay, I could kind of see that. Like if On hadn't pushed her into it, and she was just like, if they were actually dating, and she's like, I'm gonna put sunscreen on your back, like
Yeah.
that's what you do for your partner, like you sunscreen them. But like again, because it was coming from On, it was just weird.
But
Yeah,
it was at the
it's-
department picnic too.
That's
like,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an audience,
But it's the fact that On like is pushing her to
Yeah,
do all
it's
these things.
gross.
It's like, what? You have to know. Like she
Well,
has to know.
I thought that she knew. I was like, oh, she must know, and she's like using this to torture Olive, like
Yeah.
making her do all these cringy things to like make fun of her, basically like, haha, I know, and like I'm gonna make this horrible for you.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
would
but
be
that was
pretty
not
funny.
the case. Like
At
these,
the end, I knew the whole time.
Yeah.
Another trope, but
Yep.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh
not even doing
man.
that.
So we kind of talked about like how she's always calling Dr. Carlson an ass. And that we don't like ever really see evidence of like him actually being an ass. What do you actually like? What do you think of Adam's character?
I mean, like, right away in the beginning when it started talking about he's just a known ass. He's an ass. It just kind of reminded me of high school where, like, kids would be like, oh, that teacher's such an asshole. But then to come to find out they're the ones that are actually the troublemakers.
Yeah.
And, the teacher's just strict
Yeah.
and, wants some order.
Yeah.
That's the vibe right away. He came to it, and I mean, basically came true.
Yeah.
He's a strict teacher. His whole emphasis is making sure that science is at the top priority, making sure there's good science, and that's pretty much it. He has all the focus on his students.
Yeah. He has the students' best interest in mind, and
Exactly.
that's what a teacher should be. Like, they're not there to make
Yep.
friends.
Nope.
Yeah, I
You
feel like
know?
the teachers that are the biggest assholes are the ones that actually like care.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
have high expectations, and they know that their students can perform to a certain level, and
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah.
want to see that. So I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Poor guy.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly getting two things. He's constantly getting called an ass, and then Olive constantly talks about how tall he is.
Swear to God.
Oh my God.
Like and
so
how
much.
like his muscles. too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
if you
tall.
if
So
you
tall.
wanted to turn this book into a drinking game, like you could take a sip, like either when he's an ass or when he's mentioned like about his height. because
Yeah.
those two things happen constantly.
And they're usually like the same. Like he's such an asshole, and he's so tall.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And
I love
it's
it.
multiple times in that same sentence.
Yeah.
He's tall. Oh my God. So tall. So tall.
So tall.
Wait, let's talk too about the fan fiction of this book. Like how Adam and Olive are based on Kylo Ren and Rey
I don't understand
from
that.
Star Wars.
Okay.
So, like, you can kind of tell by looking at the cover of the book,
Well,
right?
yeah, the cover is made out to look like them.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so the eye,
Star Wars,
I
the new
wouldn't know.
I haven't
trilogy.
seen it, but I know what he looks like. I know Kylo Ren.
Yep.
And yeah, he does look like him on the
And-
cover.
Yeah, on the cover, it's
Yep.
Daisy
Mhm.
Ridley and Adam Driver.
Yeah, who are the actor and actress that play those roles? But so, and he's literally, his name is Adam in the book.
Yeah.
So I did like at times picture Adam Driver, just knowing that these characters were based on them, but I could not picture Daisy Ridley. Like Daisy Ridley, especially like as Rey in Star Wars, is like a smart character,
And she's
Like,
kind of,
and she's kind of tomboy. Like she,
I mean, she
You go
comes from like, just like Luke
she's like
Skywalker.
a rough
She's-
background.
Yeah. And she comes up and becomes this Jedi.
Okay.
But the one that I can kind of see is like Adam's character, where Kylo Ren is like an asshole.
Yeah,
And then he kind of comes over, and by the end of it, spoiler alert, he helps Rey out.
yeah, like he ends up being like an anti-hero in a sense.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, he kind of turns to the light side, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
So, and he's also kind of like dark and mysterious and doesn't talk that
his
much,
favorite color is
right?
black.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. So I could picture Adam Driver. I could not picture Daisy Ridley,
No,
especially because we listened to the audiobook and the voice was the exact opposite of like what
Yeah.
Daisy Ridley sounds like.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't see
I
it.
just feel like we needed to talk
Okay.
about that because I listened to an interview with the author and she did literally say like, I love these two characters from Star Wars. Like that's why I
Oh, interesting.
picked them for like fan fiction.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Huh.
Sorry, you kind of missed.
Interesting.
In my
Sorry, you
opinion.
kinda missed.
So over time, Olive and Adam start to develop real feelings for each other, and they spend all this time together. And she eventually tells him that her research is dedicated to her mom. Their mom passed away when she was younger from pancreatic cancer. However, neither of them is like brave enough to tell the other how they feel. Which is very annoying. Olive doesn't want to tell him because of her fear of abandonment. And they both kind of think the other is like interested in someone else, which like further complicates everything.
Okay. I think we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
definitely.
Because that's like
Oh, yeah.
that's like half the book is Olive is thinking that Adam, and I don't really understand her reasoning. She thinks that he loves somebody else.
He's so obviously like is into her.
Yeah.
I don't get how
Definitely.
she doesn't
Definitely.
see it.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
But first, I do want to say what pancreatic cancer is, because I wanted to know what the pancreas does,
Mhm.
because she's so focused about pancreatic cancer. So the pancreas actually produces juices and insulin, as well as other hormones, which helps with digestion. The part which produces digestive juices is called the exocrine pancreas, and the part that produces hormones, including the insulin, called the endocrine pancreas. Just so you know.
good to know.
Wowza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd hear digestive juices on
This
On the
podcast.
literary
Podcast.
Thanks, David,
You
for
heard
your
it here
MD.
first.
No, that's
No,
good.
that's
I
good
didn't
to
know what
know,
it was
yeah.
either.
And yes, she's drinking all those pumpkin spice.
Yeah, pumpkin
Yeah.
spice unicorn
Seriously.
lattes.
Meanwhile,
Super
what's in
sugary
your
drinks.
gut?
I'm not judging her for the pumpkin spice. I love
Pumpkin
That's
spice
fair.
is
Yeah.
great. Now,
That's a cheap.
But the
You do like
unicorn frappe is
unicorn.
where I drew the line.
Yeah.
sounds like a lot of sugar.
Yeah. Ouch.
I actually have tried it one time just because I was curious. Ain't good. 10 out of 10. Don't recommend.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, it is. Try it sometime. Terrible.
No, I will not. Yeah. So back to like the whole miscommunication thing. I don't really get where she's thinking that he has somebody else.
Because his friend, Dr.
Holden
Rodriguez?
Rodriguez.
Holden
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yep.
He said that Adam has liked her for 2 years, but she didn't think that he was talking about her.
Yep.
I guess because it was so incredibly obvious to me that it was her, I just was not
But
following her train of thought.
the
Like,
way that he says
Yeah.
it too is, I think he literally says that Adam's been pining over a student.
Yeah.
It's like
okay.
after that run in the beginning, and then he says that, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I don't know
That's
what. That's the end of the. I don't know. That's the end of the book. I don't know what else to do. I mean, what more what more proof do you need?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole book though too is like how the beginning of the beginning of the book is the blurry guy who she sees.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much him the whole time.
How do you not recognize
doesn't-
voices too?
Recognize voices. It's like I don't know, what was it? It was like it happened, and then 2 years later, she still didn't know.
Yeah, you're right,
something
2
like that?
years. Man, that poor guy's been
Why is
sitting
it-
there for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, dude.
Do you think it almost would have made more sense if like she was sitting in the stall with the door shut and they like talked like over
Yeah.
the stall or something insteod of having to
Yeah,
go
but-
through this whole
but
like
then-
her
Well,
eyes were blurry?
he would have had to have been sitting in the stall because she was dealing with her
Yep.
contacts.
Here's a
That's
plop.
pretty funny. Woo.
Because they're in the men's room, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't see the
That's
urinals
awesome.
when she walked in.
She couldn't see though.
Yeah, that's fair. And
Her eyes are burning.
Couldn't see through
it's a mess.
it. It's a whole mess.
That's so funny. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, the miscommunication thing going on is I think what definitely bothers me the most throughout this story is just how they don't just talk it out like adults. But
Yeah.
I guess on the other side of things, like there's a lot of adults that don't know how to communicate, right?
If
Very
I
true.
were him, I would have like brought it up in a sense that like that was him, just like joking around with her and being like, "How are your contacts feel today?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
for
like-
sure.
Yeah, that's a great. I'm gonna ding him a little bit because he's
Yeah.
like 35 and he's doing
Oh,
this whole plot. It's
Dude,
like,
for sure.
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're like a world-renowned scientist.
Scientist.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Very true. Well, moving on the story, the next like big kind of point in the book is when they go to this conference where Olive's been selected to give a speech on her research. So there's like everybody's going, right? Like all the students, faculty, and she's like thinking she's gonna get to room with her friends. They've got other plans. So naturally, like she's gonna stay with Adam because all of her friends were like, well, we didn't invite you to stay with us and didn't think to include you because we thought you'd stay with Adam, which is fair, right? Like
Yeah.
That's
they,
pretty fair.
And
they think they're dating.
You should note too, like Ann and Jeremy are full on like dating now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yep. So
and it's been going on for a little while. I
yeah,
mean,
it's like around the same time that like
Few
Adam.
months, for sure.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
fact that Adam thinks that she likes Jeremy though is
Oh,
That's
geez,
so
stupid.
that's
annoying.
dumb.
Yeah,
You're right.
like, why would she go through all this to like
just because she liked him. Yeah,
yeah.
or she
When
likes
the
him,
whole
but-
point that she's fake dating him is so Ann and Jeremy can be together. Like, why would
Yeah.
she?
They're together. Like you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
But I guess we find out that she has feelings for Adam. So
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But luckily, there's 2 beds, even though she's like convinced there's going to be 1. Thank God, there's 2 for her. But so then she gives her speech. It sounds like she does a great job. Adam, I think, is giving a speech at the same time somewhere else, and so he doesn't actually hear it. But he helped her like prepare for it and stuff, and they have like a pretty good relationship in that sense, where like he's helping her out a lot with that. But afterwards, so she's approached by Tom,
Dun,
and
dun,
he
dun.
like hits on her, and he says all these like horrible things to her, basically like telling her that he only accepted her research because of her looks, calls her mediocre, and like thinks she only got that speech like slot because of Adam. And she was basically like, he said, "Oh, you sleep with Adam, like I know that we're gonna sleep together, like when we work together at Harvard."
yeah, I think she's trying to sleep her way
So
to the top.
gross.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know, like in male-dominated fields, imagine how often that happens to women. I bet that happens a lot.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunate.
It's sad.
Yeah, it makes me sick.
Yeah.
Yep. So she's obviously upset over like that whole thing. And so then Adam afterwards, when they like reconnect, he can tell she's upset, but she like refuses to tell him why. Like
Yeah,
she
and
just
she lies.
Yeah, she's like conflicted about telling him because I think her logic is like she doesn't want to ruin like their relationship, and they like Adam and Tom like collaborate a lot on like projects and stuff. So that's like her line of thinking. Like,
Yeah, but this is kind of a weird thing though, because I feel like Adam would want to know that kind of thing if he's going to go and work in Boston with this guy,
right?
Even though he's known him for how many
Known him for a
years,
while,
like-
and yeah, I mean, like every time Adam's talked about him, they sound like great friends.
yeah,
Friends. Well, it seems like since college.
Yeah.
Since college, friends. Yeah. So
I see both sides of it because, like, I see like why she doesn't want to tell him because like she thinks that he has been like working so hard to like get to Harvard and do all this. Like, she doesn't want to ruin it for him. And then I see like his side where he like would want to know that, but like I do understand like where she's coming from. I don't agree that she didn't tell him. I still think she should have, but like I still see like kind of why she didn't. I guess. I don't know.
yeah. I never really bought the fact that he like actually wanted to go to Boston though.
No,
You know,
Yeah.
but like I'm
That's
just looking from her point of view because she
Yeah.
thinks that he wanted to
I
go,
suppose, yeah,
but he really only wanted to go because of her.
yeah,
But like she didn't think that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, can we talk about the cringy sex scenes now?
that was a good one. That was spicy.
Oh my god, no.
that was.
It was a chapter and a half.
Listening to it felt very long.
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
me
yeah.
and have been deprived of the spice in the last books that we've been going
I,
that have been going on the podcast.
It was. Yeah, it's. Yeah. I mean, it's not like I read books
Well-
that much, but like the amount of spice in this one, and how long it was. So okay, so you guys listened to a different audiobook than I did.
I read
So-
it. I didn't even listen.
and you read it.
Wait, you listened to it?
I
Listen-
listened to it. So
on YouTube. It was
on
like
YouTube,
a Siri version.
It was
like,
with an
version.
AI
Siri.
bot.
Like an AI, like an AI bot reading.
An
it.
AI bot. So there was like a few words that were hilarious every time they wrote. But
Like,
but also like my ADD, I had to speed it up. So I'm listening to it times 2. I'm trying to crank this out. And even at that speed, it felt so long. And I'm on my way to work. I'm running up to a red light, really turning down the volume so nobody else could hear it. It was interesting.
I mean, I just had to call this out because as soon as we heard this, Emily and I looked at each other and we're like, what the fuck? At some point, Olive says that Adam puts her entire boob in his mouth.
Yeah, that was
Oh
weird.
my gosh.
What the hell?
Yeah.
There's like a whole thing on social media about that. Like people are like, "There's no way," and then other people are like, "I tried it, and you can do it."
That's
Oh my
hilarious.
god.
Or the fact when she was like, "You don't want this" and all this stuff, and then he just grabs her hand and puts it on this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. What the fuck?
I was like,
that?
okay, where was the consent here?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He was very consensual the whole time except that part.
yeah,
It-
I don't know. For
it
me,
was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
leading up to first the Tom scene of him being ridiculous. All up until then, it was just I was like, once the Tom scene happened, I went to Paige and I was just like, oh my god, finally something dramatic happened.
Yeah.
like it's literally so many chapters of just. I don't know. It was just I felt like it was dragging on and on and on,
Yeah.
So something dramatic happened and then immediate spice.
and then immediate spice, and
For,
not
like-
even just a little spice.
Yeah, and we're talking like audiobook wise, like 40 minutes
Oh my god!
Yeah.
of sex talk.
It
So-
was a lot.
Yeah.
Like I've never actually listened to that spicy of a sex scene before, so it's very different versus reading it. And like because it was one narrator doing everybody's voices, right? Like so she was like kind of moaning like
Yuck.
when she was talking and stuff, and we both were just like, oh
Ugh.
my god!
I've gotta
like,
show
just
you guys the
losing our
AI bot.
minds.
The AI bot, every time there was a it's like on the book, it was like it was hilarious every single time.
Reading it was a completely different experience. It was like a normal like spice.
I could totally see
I
that.
imagine.
sex
yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
couldn't.
like,
I couldn't deal with the moaning. I couldn't even
It-
deal with the first 5 minutes of the audiobook. The
wait,
moaning
yeah.
was-
So with the audiobook that you guys listened to, was it 2 narrators?
It was one narrator and she
one.
did all the voices. And we should point this out too, because at one point, Jeremy comes on and the lady switches to like a Scottish accent. And we're like, where the hell did that come from?
I was like, who has a Scottish
Evidently
accent?
he's Scottish, and I don't remember that
my
being.
God.
I was like,
in
I
the
feel like
beginning.
we're listening to like a bad spoof
Totally
on like
different.
Banshees of Inisherin right now. Like it was like
Yeah,
so
it was really bad.
bad.
That's hilarious. Was it a good Scottish accent?
No, it
No.
was really bad.
It's terrible.
It was like she was going in and out of it because she couldn't like hold it.
She couldn't do it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember them like describing him as like Scottish or Irish, but
not
like
describing him at
No.
all. I feel
he
like
did
they
have
hardly
red
talked about
hair.
him.
Yeah, I mean
Really?
that's about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
way.
I'm sure that's a hard thing to do is read for an audiobook, but I'm just
Yeah, I don't want to
wanted
be like
point
an
it out that
asshole.
it-
Like I wouldn't be able to do
no,
it.
I
but
couldn't either, but
No.
it came out of nowhere.
I know we were listening in the car and I was like, "Who's Scottish?" Like,
Yeah,
like
that was-
did he have a
a new
Scottish accent
character?
earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, any other thoughts on the spicy scenes?
I think
We kind of covered
I'm
it.
good with that.
Yeah.
Got my
we can
maraschino
move on.
cherries.
Move on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so after that, then Adam leaves the conference early because he has like his interview at Harvard. And then Olive ends their fake dating. And what I believe like her logic is to sum it up is like she just like feels it's the right thing to do with just like what they both have like going on.
But she still thinks that he's in love with someone else.
Yeah, that's part of like
Yeah.
her logic. Like she's just like, oh, this isn't gonna work.
But
Like,
also he does too.
Yeah,
He still thinks
Which is so
Jeremy.
because they
It's
just
stupid.
they just need to talk.
yeah,
After that long of a spicy scene.
it's weird. Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Olive ends up telling Malcolm and Ann about what happened with Tom, and they suggest to talk to Holden, who again was Adam's friend or is Adam's friend, about Tom's character and like kind of what she should do about the whole situation. And Holden tells Olive that Tom's always been jealous of Adam, which kind of opens up the door for the kind of person that Tom actually is. So Olive interrupts. Well, she finds out that she recorded, 'cause she was recording her speech for her teacher or for her
Mhm.
advisor. And at the end of the recording, she found out that she actually recorded the whole like the whole
Conversation.
interaction
The whole
with
Yeah.
Tom.
conversation.
And so now she actually has proof. So Olive goes to interrupt Adam's dinner with the Harvard faculty, which is kind of like part of his interview, to tell him the truth about Tom. Well, Tom tries to interrupt, and Olive plays the recording that she took, and Tom's like trying to like grab the phone and like stop her from like playing it, and
Mhm.
Adam pushes Tom against the wall. Then Tom ends up getting fired from the recording.
Yeah, it's like this whole
Kind of.
thing.
Yeah.
It's
Ties
kind
that
of.
together.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
I was
Mhm.
hoping for a little more, to be honest with you. I was hoping
Okay.
he's gonna hit him or something because
That,
it's like.
that would have been cool.
well, I
That would've
mean,
been really cool.
he just pushes him up against the wall, and then there's this old guy that's asking, "What are you doing, Mr. Carlson or Dr.
Yeah.
Carlson?" It's like, come on, give me something here.
He was
Give me a
ignoring
fight
him.
at least.
Maybe it's just
Yeah.
part back to his character, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not the type that's like gonna start an all out brawl in
With
a
his-
restaurant with an
Well,
audience.
And he's a professional guy. Like he's not gonna just.
Yeah, I don't know. He
Yeah.
seems like the kind of guy that, like, I don't know. He seems very right or wrong, and if like he feels he's in the right, he's gonna do it.
Yeah,
To me, I
that's
don't
true.
know. And he seemed. I mean, he threw him up against the wall. Like, seemed like
Yep.
at that point, you might as well just commit, man.
Yeah.
I might as well.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys about this part is like, what if she hadn't taken the recording, right? Like, do you think things still would have played out like this? Because like having a recording of what Tom says is pretty damning, right? Like we know he said these things, there's the proof, like, but what if she didn't have that? Like, do you think she still would have told Adam? And like, do you think Tom would have gotten fired right away? Like, how would this have gone down?
I mean, I don't think she would have told Adam because that just doesn't seem like her character. She doesn't seem like she wants to communicate anything to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if she did tell him, he would still believe her.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's kind of a dumb little thing that's going on. If they just communicate, like I feel like it's all going to be
Oh
figured
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
No, but I'm in the same boat. I don't think she would have told him. Just with her how scientific she is. She's
Yeah.
like, there's no proof.
Yeah.
That's
No
true. That's a
proof.
good point.
Yeah, I guess.
And with he talked about their friendship and all this stuff. I think with her being so self-conscious too, she'd be like, nope, anything I say, he's not going to believe me.
Yeah. I suppose that makes sense for kind of the doctor or scientist part where they need proof kind of thing. But I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing where it's, I don't know. I don't like it.
I'm glad she got the recording.
Yeah. I think maybe she would have told him because like after her conversation with Holden, like she's like, oh, actually, Tom is a piece of shit. Like Adam deserves to know. I just think it would have been like a messier situation. Like you said, she doesn't communicate very well. So like how she would have handled it, I don't know.
Yeah, Holden doesn't outright say that he's a piece of shit, though. Like,
no, he held
kind of
back.
was vague about it.
Yeah,
was-
but she like gets the vibe like he is.
well,
just
she
from-
should know by now that he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, if anything, like just him talking.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys want them to get together? At this point, I don't even fucking care. Just move to Boston, Adam, and let her do her thing and where the fuck she's gonna go. I don't know.
For the sake of the romance book, yes, I want them together. I want the happy ending. And that's all I wanted. I wanted Tom to be screwed.
So
I did want
that's
Tom to
it.
be fucked
David,
over.
he finished before I did, like before I even started. And like as I was reading it, I was like, David, like, do they end up together in the end? He's like, I'm not telling you. I'm like, does he die of pancreatic cancer? I was totally like, the whole time I thought he was like, because like I thought like the whole research thing at Harvard, like he was going there to like do more stuff with like pancreatic cancer, because like that's what Tom's like worked with. So I was like, shit, does he have pancreatic cancer? Like,
Wait, you thought that too when he was afraid of the needles or whatever.
I
Yeah.
thought he
Get
was gonna
shot.
say that he had like
That
some
was
kind
the
of disease
scene.
or something.
Yep, that was the scene
Yeah.
where I started questioning him
I didn't
about
even
it.
think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played it
That's
super
so
vague when
funny.
she asked. I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah. I was like, God, that would suck. That was like the ending.
Yeah.
Brutal.
At least something would happen though.
It's terrible.
I know. I'm sorry.
More of a twist that way, I guess.
Yeah.
But
True. Yeah. So book kind of ties up with she's like approached with several other research funding opportunities, and she accepts a spot at Berkeley. At the end of the book, Olive works up the nerve to tell Adam that she loves him,
the last
which is
sentence. It takes how many pages was this book?
I don't know, but it was like 12 hours.
Took this lady, I don't know, 400 pages, 500 pages to figure out all this stuff, and it's like, I feel like after a couple of chapters, you know.
Yeah.
what did you think of her
Oh, yeah.
telling him that she loves him in the different language? That was a little cheesy, but
It made sense to me just because she talked about that poster.
that was the only thing that tied with it.
I know, but at least they set it up and then they
True.
did something with it. But
True.
yeah, it's kind of cheesy.
Mm-hmm. Just didn't really seem like their thing, right? Like it's not like they had like an inside joke about it, like
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
most of the way through the
exactly.
book.
Just the fact that he speaks another language. What language did she even say it in? I don't know.
This is
Was
like the
it-
last part of it too, right?
The last
this is like they've
sentence,
been they were dating for a year after it. I
No.
think.
Oh, yeah. No,
I think
10
it
months
was.
after that.
Or
Yeah.
10 months. Okay.
Yeah. After she said, I love you, then it goes to that blog. And
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember the language.
I'm hoping it was Dutch because that's what he knew. That
It
was
would
his
have
second
been what
language.
he knew.
It's gotta
was
be,
probably
right?
She would have been
Dutch
like,
then.
what'd you just say
Yeah.
to me?
Like she says it in Spanish. She's like, the fuck?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Did you guys listen to the bonus scene or read the bonus scene?
What bonus?
I
scene?
think
Or
so.
bonus chapter, I should say. It's
Yeah, the
I
thing
didn't know
at,
there
the
was
epilogue.
one.
at the end of it.
Oh.
the
The
epilogue.
epilogue?
It was
epilogue.
after the epilogue.
Oh, I didn't
After
see
the
that.
epilogue.
Well, we didn't. We probably should.
I couldn't listen to any more of that book.
There was like another 45 minutes of like
What?
content.
Okay, no.
It was
did
like,
not.
well, it was like in the audiobook, it said this chapter, big bonus or whatever, like see Adam pine over Olive or something. So I was like, okay, is this going to be like 45 minutes of
Oh.
Adam like drooling over her?
Well,
Like,
it's-
Those 2 years.
Wow.
It's
that-
gotta be, yeah.
It's got to be
I don't
interesting.
need to
I
read
do
that.
want to
My-
listen to it, but I was like, I'll probably listen
Ah,
without you.
no.
'cause you
I don't
care.
think that's in the book.
No,
it
it's
must
not.
just be like a bonus for the
That's
audio.
got to be
but-
bonus because my AI audiobook did not have that.
ChatGPT didn't include the bonus chapter. Funny. Well, let's talk about like some of the secondary characters in the book. Like which ones did you like and which ones did you not really care for?
I hated On.
Yeah, On was the worst.
Yeah, I did not like her. I liked Malcolm. He was a good friend.
Yeah, he was kind of
was-
fun.
I like Dr.
Holden.
Rodriguez.
Holden and Malcolm.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Rodriguez. He was always honest.
Yeah.
At least.
I don't know if we
Yeah.
pointed this out, but they're gay. So
Yep.
everybody knows.
Yeah.
That's all
They
the
were
listeners.
cute. Yeah, I liked Malcolm. I thought it was funny when he was pissed at Olive for not telling him about Adam, and he was like, "I'm gonna take away my Netflix password." I was like, that's
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, he was cute.
yeah. Obviously, Tom's a piece of shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jeremy's like nothing.
Yeah, he's
Jeremy,
not
they
even.
hardly talked about
Jeremy's
him.
Scottish,
He's just
apparently.
there.
It's so weird that he's like the entire thrust of like the story because
Yeah.
he's the reason that this is
Mhm.
all going on, and he doesn't really matter
Mhm.
in the end.
No.
Like,
That's weird.
I don't know.
So
So Olive's advisor tells her to carry yourself with the confidence of a mediocre white man. Do you think that's good advice?
I actually do.
I like it.
Yeah, because just like thinking about that statement, like you don't want to carry yourself with the confidence of a cocky white man because that's annoying, right? Like,
Yep.
but a mediocre white man, especially like in a world where it's like a male dominated industry, like thinking that you're like a mediocre white man as a female, you're like, okay, you're thinking that you belong here. Like walk into this meeting knowing that you have a right to be here and you're not going to be like overly like cocky about it. You're not going to have a big ego. Like you're just going to go in there and like do your job and like show that you know stuff. That's how like I see it.
I think a mediocre white man would get further in a male dominated industry than a spectacular female. To be honest,
Really? I guess it probably depends on where you work.
I think in this sense, yeah, it would have, especially with people like Tom around there, for sure.
Yeah, in his
Tom sucks.
his lab probably.
I don't know. I am a mediocre white man, so I was kind of confused when she said that because I was like, well, I mean, mediocrity isn't what people strive for. So, and I understand like the whole, white male, you have certain, you're privileged, but
Right, but like it's probably like having the not like the
There's a
abilities
confidence.
of a mediocre white man. Like I don't think the advisor was saying like be mediocre. I think she was saying like act like how a mediocre white man would act.
again,
Yeah.
as a mediocre white man, not a
I
ton
don't
of
know
confidence. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I was kind of telling Paige about this too, but like if you compare Adam and Tom, like both guys, they have power, right? Adam's got the credentials, he's got the lab, he's a known ass. But his power he uses to elevate science. It's something above himself.
Yeah.
And Tom, on the other hand, similar credentials, Harvard, lab, all that good stuff, but he uses his power for himself.
He abuses it.
He abuses his power, manipulates people, stuff like that. For a mediocre white man, I mean, it's like you want to have the confidence in your work, which she doesn't have that much confidence in selling her stuff.
Yeah.
Like that scene when she's trying to tell Tom about her pancreatic cancer research. She has a kind of stumbles her way through it, but she makes it. I think it's more than just the confidence, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, very good point. What do you think the author was hoping to accomplish when she wrote this book?
I don't know.
I don't know either, honestly.
Make us happy, stupid, not even like I don't. It didn't even follow. Like I said earlier, it's not even the love triangle story. Like I feel like that's the most basic rote story that you can do, and it didn't even do that.
So I don't think it's I think it's a basic romance novel for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's more based on Beauty and the Beast though, where Adam is the beast. He's the asshole, uncontrolled guy, but around Olive, he's controlled. He knows how to control his anger, control stuff like that. Tom is Gaston. Just manipulative, narcissistic asshole. And
Yeah, actually, that's
I think that this book is meant to be a fantasy. Like, not a fantasy genre, but like it's meant to be like a female fantasy when you read it. Like,
Definitely.
like hooking up with the hot professor or whatever. Like, I don't think the author went into this book like, I'm going to write the best romance story ever written. Like,
Yep.
I think
Well,
it's just meant to like be an escape, kind of. Like, it's like a beach read, right? Like,
Yeah.
you pick up this
Yeah.
book because you're just looking for something like very surface level.
Yep.
If I took this book on when we went to Mexico, if I had taken this book and was sitting on the beach reading it, I would have closed it after a chapter. Like,
Okay, well,
I mean, we
you
are,
know
But I'm a
we are-
man,
We
so-
are definitely not her target audience.
yeah, not
No,
a,
you were
and I'll
not.
admit that. I mean,
Yeah.
not the target audience. I did not enjoy the book, but
Nope.
I mean, I guess what do you girls think?
like,
Does it hit that target audience?
well, I'm not really the target audience because I actually am not a huge like chick literature reader.
I'm not either.
Okay.
So Paige and I probably wouldn't have been like her ideal people, but there are girls out there, women, even men too, I'm sure, that like
Yeah.
love this genre. They love chick lit. They know exactly what they're gonna get when they read these books, and they're happy
Yeah.
about it. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like personal preference.
I mean, there's a reason why it's like raved about on Book Talk.
This book is
Is
like
it really?
so popular
Yeah.
in
I
chick
looked up the
Very
literature.
ratings
popular.
like just on Google and stuff like that. Yeah, close to 5 stars. Dude,
Wow.
it's up there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
just
Wow.
honestly like what you're looking for, and like
Yep.
And it's
the
all
four of
preference.
us weren't
It's all
looking for
preference.
this, which we did know what we were getting ourselves into. Maybe you two didn't, but Paige and I didn't know.
I mean, I had an idea. I like a
I had
good
an
rom
idea.
com, but
Right.
this was something else.
Well, like, yeah, I was telling Paige, like, up to leading to the Tom incident, when I was
Mhm.
like, finally something's happening. Like, half those chapters. I think we could have got rid of half those chapters.
Yeah, you said like chapters 1 through 15 could have been condensed
Yeah.
into
could have been
5.
condensed.
Right.
Literally, like, just.
So
I
could
mean,
have
my
chapter
ADD.
16 wasn't that the sex chapter?
Yeah, that was that was a chapter and a half.
Okay, I
Chapter
think
and a
you're just
half.
hating on it so much because you listened to it and you didn't read it. Because it was
Yeah.
actually not.
No, I know, because I'm like, I love smut just as much as the next girl, but like
Yeah.
listening to it was a different experience, I think.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
Yeah, I'm just too immature for that. Like every time something happened, I like looked at Nick, which was like every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Just some of the stuff. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the stuff they were saying was just like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but like which parts of the books felt like a stretch, like that weren't realistic, whereas was there any parts that felt realistic?
I think like the stretch was a professor dating a student. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really think too much felt realistic besides like the science part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Because
science was definitely realistic.
yeah, because the author and the 4 of us were talking about this a little bit, but I don't think we mentioned this yet in the
We
podcast,
haven't.
how Ali Hazelwood is actually a neuroscience scientist. So she has like the background. Granted, this is like more biology. I don't know enough about these topics to really like know how much she knows about these things, but it did seem like she definitely has the background knowledge to be able to write about like women in science and women in STEM, which that's what like all of her books are about. Like they're always romance, but like they're always like in a science setting.
Yeah.
So it sounds like too what I've read or like heard from other interviews and stuff that people are like, yeah, she did a pretty good job like hitting on the science stuff.
hmm
And she has a
Yeah.
couple books where they're like engineers. And so with like my background, like having a degree in engineering, I'm like, I kind of want to read or listen to those and just see if like I get that same opinion out of them.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's a book. It's not supposed to be realistic, and it's a
Mhm.
romance novel. So
Right.
being a little harsh on it, but it's just not what I want. The whole fake dating thing is just. It just doesn't seem like anybody would ever do that in real life. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of
Yeah.
bugged me.
Not
But
definitely not at that age.
just seemed
Yeah,
Yeah,
pointless.
not at
adults.
that age, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you have anything to say about that, David?
No, I mean, yeah, it's for realistic side of things, I thought the biology lab stuff was. I didn't know that she was a neurobiologist, so I had figured she'd done really good research.
Mm-hmm.
And like my freshman year of college, I worked in a biology lab on campus, made a couple bucks to buy some beer, and like, I remember setting up with some of the biology labs and cleaning all their equipment and stuff like that. But so that was kind of cool to
Yeah.
reminisce on that.
Yeah. Cool.
So, if a sequel were to be written, do you think Adam and Olive would make it for the long haul? It's like,
I'm trying to
in a
think-
sequel.
I'm trying to think of
Better
some
not be a
ridiculous
sequel.
way that they could prove their love to each other or something like.
Well, so what I think is if this author were to write the sequel, they would make it, right? Because like that's what we're led to believe, that they're like, you know, like their true love or whatever. But I think like if this were like a real world setting, their lack of communication, like if that doesn't improve, I feel like they could have some like real issues. Like if something were to come up in the relationship and Olive doesn't, hopefully when they're together they can, you know, work through that and like know that they can talk to each other and trust in each other about stuff. But seeing like their lack of communication in this book was like very concerning to me.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, a spiraling of lies after lie after lie, and
Her
It
hole
was-
was getting deeper and deeper.
deeper and deeper, and so it's finally refreshing at the end where she kind of finally opened up and told the truth. It's like, God,
The last sentence, man. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it took that long.
took that long.
What do you think, Pager?
Yeah, I mean if they fix their communication issues, I think they would. But that's the real world. This is
Yeah.
fake. So I don't know.
This is
Yeah.
fake.
I don't think she would write a whole other book just to have them break up.
Right.
I think they would go through
Yeah.
some hardships during it.
Tom
But
comes back.
I think in the end,
Yeah, what could it even be?
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Won't
I don't
probably
think we're
ever
getting
read
one.
it. Yeah. So, what are your final thoughts for the book? Did you like it?
Who wants to go first?
You guys can go first. One of you two.
Okay. I mean,
Go for
I've
it,
kind
man.
of showed my hand.
Yeah. Same.
I didn't really care for it because I don't really care for romance novels. I've never read one. This is probably the first one. I don't mind rom-coms though. I mean, there's some rom-com movies that are fun to watch, and like I said, it's in those movies they have dilemmas that they're trying to work through, like, you know, something that they can't agree on, or she's the really mean boss, he's the nice employee, lovable employee, like Proposal.
Yeah, I was like, Sandra
um,
Bullock and Ryan.
Yeah, and they have to come together for some reason. But I feel like this book is just, she needs to fake date him for some reason to prove that she's not in love with her 2-week fling, so her roommate can date the guy. It's like, it just seems from the beginning very weak to me. So I just didn't enjoy it, and I don't know. It was very, very rote and cliche, and give it like maybe a 2-star. I don't know.
2 stars
star.
out of
Yeah,
5.
2-star.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 What about you, David?
Yep. Nope. Similar boat. Definitely not a book I'd pick up on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely read it off the bat. I was getting Beauty and the Beast vibes. Typical standard romance novel, whether it be a werewolf, a billionaire, vampire. It's like, okay, we've got the asshole teacher
Yeah.
and then the girl who's got a lot to offer, and so basically Beauty and the Beast, you got to tell, and you got to tell the truth. Those are the two type narratives I got out of the book.
Yeah.
For its rating, I don't like 2.5 out of 5 because that's right in the middle.
Yeah.
So I would go 2.
Okay.
Amen,
Yeah.
brother.
I tried to listen to the audiobook. Couldn't do it. I'd turn it off. It was just too, I don't like audiobooks. I've come to realize I'm just done trying. Reading it, I mean, it wasn't obviously my favorite book, not even close, but like it was okay. Like it wasn't like I don't hate it. But my overall rating is probably 3 out of 5.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Did you have anything else to add
No.
with that? Okay. Yeah, I would also give it a 3 out of 5. Back to like what I've said earlier throughout it is like the miscommunication was really bothering me. Like it just, a lot of the things in this book felt really juvenile, like how they couldn't communicate, how she was like being forced by her best friend to do all these cringy things to Adam. Like, again, how old are we? Like, so some of those things were like bothering me. But I do like respect the like background that the author has with science. Like
Yeah.
that definitely like gave me, like I gave brownie points for that because I was like, okay, I really like that she has like the knowledge base to be able to write about these things, and she's writing about women in STEM and like women that are like doing all these cool things, and like, so I appreciated that a lot. And like I kept having to remind myself like this is meant to be like a fantasy. Like she didn't write this book thinking she was writing the greatest love story of all time, or was like not really trying to create even like a super realistic scenario. Like you pick up this book because you want an escape. And so I kept telling myself that. I'm like, don't be too harsh because like you know what you got into. So yeah, 3 out of 5 for me.
2, 2, 3, 3. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for or whoever picked this. Thank you for that.
That was me.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Nice job.
Paige picked the genre. I picked the book.
Okay.
I had high hopes. It has a really good rating on Goodreads. So
Next time, maybe we'll let you
blame
guys,
the masses.
We'll
Let
let you
us
guys pick.
Ooh, let
I
us
like that.
pick.
We
Okay.
had a thought of one,
Yes, we did.
which we can. Well, the 4 of us will talk about it next time you guys come
Cool.
on. But the one we thought was A Clockwork Orange.
Mm.
It's like, how old is that book? Like,
Is that a movie?
God.
I don't even.
There's also
No,
a movie.
Yeah.
There's-
I was
It's
wondering that.
short though. It's like 200, 250 pages.
But like old as in like the books that we had to read in high school because we
It's not like that. Like you wouldn't
Okay.
be. It's supposed to be like really violent, I guess.
Yeah,
like it's like a horror.
I've seen parts of that movie.
yeah, it's.
Yep.
But I
there's
was
some
like,
fucked up parts in the
Yep.
movie.
There's.
I was like, that might be kind of fun, like spooky season. Like we read the book because you said it's like 200 pages. We watch the movie and then maybe like our episode we like talk about both.
yeah, you could do
I
that.
like it.
Just a
I
thought,
like it.
but
Okay.
little revenge.
A little revenge.
except jokes on you. We like those kind of books.
That's-
So.
To make,
If you
make
really wanted
read,
to
like, a
make us
Sports
suffer,
Illustrated or
you would
something.
make us read like
Yeah,
a
right.
Tiger Woods memoir or something like
Yeah.
that. Sports. Like,
Tiger
That's
Woods.
not on the table. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, absolutely not. This is our podcast.
Oh, this is okay, but the Tiger Woods
Yeah.
memoir is not.
This is our podcast.
I get
sorry.
it. Yeah, okay.
Funny. Is anybody else reading anything recently? Read anything? Reading anything?
I am not.
No,
Paige, what are you reading or what are you gonna read next?
I'm gonna start that our book club book. Is it Legends and or Lattes and Legends? Legends and Lattes. What is-
Legends and Lattes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited
s-
about that one too.
I saw the
Might
cover
start
of
that
it
tonight.
and I was like, wait, what?
It looks a little weird. I know the cover turned me off a little
It
bit
was
about it,
interesting.
but
Yeah,
so
I
it's a
threw it
picture
out
with
there.
ogres.
With
and
what?
They're
Orcs.
orcs?
They're
Okay.
orcs.
what's
Green
an orc?
orcs.
Have you ever seen
Lord of the Rings.
I hate Emily. You know I don't like
the
these.
orcs.
Well, there's orcs in
But
that,
these are
those
green
But
ones.
what
orcs.
is it? Like an ogre?
No.
I mean, what's an ogre?
Yeah.
Are they
How do you
magical?
I would say it's
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
An
similar.
ogre is Shrek.
Well, an orc is from Lord of the Rings.
I
I don't know
watch
how to
that,
explain it.
though.
They're from the land of Mordor,
The
and
land of Mordor.
they're bad.
And they're ugly.
Yeah,
very ugly.
it's
All right, I'll just Google
it's
it
an
then.
imaginary creature.
Yeah, when I suggested that book at book club, I was like, okay, guys, like just read the description though, because everybody was like, I want to read something like lighter, and I kept hearing that this book is like a fantasy book, and it's like feels like you're like in a cozy cabin, like drinking a warm drink, like it's just supposed to be like feel good. So
Nice.
the cover is a little
Why are there
misleading
orcs on it?
because they're orcs.
They're orcs that make lattes.
Yeah,
Hopefully not
It's like
unicorn
they own like a
lattes
coffee shop or something.
or rainbow lattes.
Oh, that
I
sounds
don't know.
worse.
It looks
It
like
says
it.
that on the back.
Oh my
Well,
god.
it said like the main character's tired of fighting and she wants to like settle down and open a coffee shop, but
Yeah.
like nobody in this like magical kingdom has ever had coffee before.
Okay, so imagine Mordor.
No, it's
And
not like that.
They're tired of fighting, so they're like, hey, I'm gonna open a Starbucks.
Yep. I'm sick of this.
Well,
Listen to Saruman.
Maybe you will have to read it.
I don't think so.
Okay. Funny.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna start that one next too, I think.
I've been trying to get through my David Goggins.
You've been
book.
trying on that for 3 years.
Been about
Amen,
3
brother.
years. I got it for Christmas, and I'm a slow reader. That book, and then I've read, I don't know, close to half of, what's that one book?
Oh, tender is the flesh.
Tender
Oh
is the
No, I'm not
my
reading that.
god.
You have to. It's
We
good.
listen to a
the thing I like
podcast
about
on
it
it.
is short. It's real short.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
small. It's a good one.
It's
Do you remember when I
That's
finished that book and I was like, I am unwell?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
do recall.
I feel like I can smell it.
Ew.
Yeah.
Just
You
while
had to
reading.
just say that, didn't you?
Golly.
Yep. Yep, it's weird.
Funny. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
Yeah, thank
I know
you.
that
We
it
did
was
it.
a bit
We
of a
did, man.
struggle getting through the
We
book,
made it.
but
We made it, man.
Yeah, you did it.
this was like so much fun though, having you guys on. It was so funny. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad we decided to do it, even though you're probably not thrilled with our.
Well, I kind of
Choice
feel
in
bad
stories.
now
Why?
because if somebody listens to this and actually likes the book, they're gonna be like, well, "This guy's an ass," or
Yeah.
"These guys." are
No.
assholes."
Well,
We all
no.
tore it apart.
We
Yeah.
talked about what the target audience was for this book, and
Yeah.
obviously,
our overall
we're not
rating is
it.
a lot
Yeah.
lower than the one on Google.
Yeah. It averages out about a 2.5.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like all
Good point.
the gals that read this book and loved it, they're like, okay, like this guy hates it. Like I'm not gonna like let that sway my decisions on
yeah.
books,
No,
right?
Don't let our
Like,
opinions sway.
yeah,
It's just an opinion.
It's
Totally.
two guys' opinions.
just two guys.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's our show. Thanks for joining us on the Literary Lounge. Again, I'm Emily.
And I'm Paige.
I'm Nick.
I'm David.
And next week, we have another special guest coming on the podcast. My little sister, Abby, is joining us. We are doing more of a book talk episode for that one. So we're not picking a book to review. We're going to just go through a bunch of different like book talk type questions, share some books that we like, maybe didn't like. It's going to be really fun. So if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like this episode. Leave us a comment if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns. We're on TikTok and Instagram as The Literary Lounge MN. Our drink is posted, the amino acid old fashioned.
Which is fantastic,
Which
by the way.
fantastic. 5
Throw
out of
that in
5.
there. Had
Yeah.
a couple of those.
A couple of those
Some
before,
liquid courage.
during,
Yeah,
after.
cool. Well, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.